One of the breaking news that we have since Donald Trump emerged president of the United States is this that Trump pauses funding for anti-HIV program that prevented 26 million AIDS deaths. Now that Donald Trump has come in and there, he has halted this program that has been beneficial to a whole lot of infected persons with HIV and AIDS. What would become of Africa? Owing to the fact that Africa has the highest number of people that are affected with this virus. And so now we are here asking, what would we do? I think this is like a wake up call to African leaders. But then, even if it seems like a wake up call to African leaders, the point is that African leaders don't care. It's very obvious that African leaders don't care. So, and then one would think that maybe African leaders will take a step and act accordingly. But I think this will happen in a way. When too many people begin to die, the masses will be forced to act and force the government to do something, or actually dethrone the government, because a whole lot of African governments are not really doing well, especially in the area of health and infrastructure. And we have had countless aids that's come into Africa from WHO, from the World Bank. Too much money has flowed into Africa, but we barely see where the capital goes. I understand that most of these aids are oftentimes given with ulterior or different terms and conditions that are not beneficial to Africa in the long run. But regardless, I mean, if African leaders had been putting into use most of these aids, by now, we wouldn't be needing aids anymore, and we would be able to even repudiate most of these debts that we owe, because even in terms of negotiation, Africans are often cheated. We give out a whole lot of raw materials, and we enact different policies that are disadvantageous to us in exchange for aids that are only fleeting. And so I'm hoping that perhaps this pause, that is, if it's even a pause, if it's not a permanent halt, this temporary pause in the funding for the anti-HIV program, I hope that it will at least, it will steer African leaders up, and then make them, prompt them to implement measures that are very important, especially build good health cares from the local level to the top level. I really want to see these things happen, because this is one of the big problems we have in Africa. And when you even look at the nature of Africa, the level of brain drain, you see that there's a high number of brain drain in Africa. Even the doctors we have, many of them have been transported outside. Many of them have moved out of the continent. Many are still moving out of the continent. These days we have quack doctors. Majority of the doctors we have are quack doctors who underperform and who are not as capable and as sophisticated as the ones who have traveled abroad and are now working in foreign hospitals. So the health situation in Africa is really sad. And the sad thing is that Africa has everything that it takes. There's a video on Wodemaya that I will play, that I will talk about very soon. And Wodemaya, in Lesotho, he met an engineer. The guy said he's not really an engineer because he didn't go beyond, I think, primary 6 or primary 7, and he didn't even get an undergraduate degree. So, but this particular man has made vehicles that that even can compete with international standards. But here we are. I don't know if the Lesotho government is funding him and are helping him, because I haven't watched the video fully. But that is someone putting in all his effort, and he has been able to, create something and invent cars that are even worthy of competing internationally. How about if we empower, other people in Africa, what would become of our health cares and our health centers? So I'm hoping that this will actually prompt a whole lot of African leaders to do the needful, especially in the area of our health care. And so it is said that nearly all global health funding from US has been halted immediately by the Trump administration, and that appears to include PEPFAR, the widely praised program created by President George W. Bush in 2003 to help prevent HIV and AIDS. With its $6.5 billion annual budget, PEPFAR, the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, provides HIV and AIDS medication for over 20.6 million people, keeping patients alive and preventing them from transmitting the virus. It also offers testing and education on HIV and AIDS. According to a State Department fact sheet, PEPFAR has saved the lives of an estimated 26 million people since its inception. So I think right now we would be witnessing a high level of spread in the HIV and AIDS virus, and we'll be witnessing also a deteriorating stage where a whole lot of people who cannot afford the medication will begin to experience health decline and subsequently die. It's really sad, it's tragic, but then according to Trump, he's putting America first. America cannot be spending all of this money when China is not spending up to it, and a whole lot of reasons why he has put out. And we cannot come here and start protesting and start complaining, because we have our own countries, and so we have our own leaders, so they have to act and do something for us, and we'll see how the whole thing unfolds.